This is Luciana Spraker with the City of Savannah Municipal Archives. I'm at the I'm at the District 5 Community Archiving event. It is, and I'm sitting here with, I'm going to ask them to say their names.
My name is Donna Myers. Brenda Golphon.
Aldrein.
Okay, and we're just going to let this recording roll while they talk about their memories of living in Liberty City, Southover Junction, and Richfield. Your conversation.
Well, I'll start off. I will tell you that growing up out here was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. This was a wonderful place to live. Yeah. It was community at its best. It was people helping each other. It was, you know, it was almost 1990 before I figured out I was supposed to have a key to my house. And somebody had to tell me, okay, because it was just family coming together. But, you know, one thing that I will say, and ladies, you all jump in, we say Liberty City, but that was for the convenience of other people. It was not for the people who lived out here. There were actually 4 distinct neighborhoods. Now, those neighbors and those areas came together and they worked together on common goods, but each one had its own look, its own character, its own makeup. There was Southover Junction before there ever was a Liberty City.
Yes, right.
There was Richfield.
Yes.
There was Liberty City. But let's not forget that there was Staley Avenue. There were houses down on Staley Avenue. These were people who owned their land. These were people when everything was against them, when all the odds were against them, when they had nothing, made a home, made a community. And if you remember, it was beautiful out here. You never saw a piece of litter on the ground.
No, they kept their yard.
Their yards were beautiful. And you never saw children going wild. You never saw any of that. It was beautiful, okay? And although we were 4 distinct communities, they came together for common goods.
We did.
They came together. Remember when they used to have meetings in each other's houses?
Yes.
You'd go to meetings in the houses and they talk about what we need
to do.
One of the things that bothers me the most is that in our desire to be so efficient and move so quickly, we are erasing the past. There's no sign that marks Southover Junction. There's nothing that commemorates the memory of those people. And I know that there are people, I know of people who lived in Southover Junction in the 20s, maybe before that. Okay?
Yeah.
Look how hard those people worked.
Sure
Look what they had when all of society said they could have nothing.
That's true.
We just can't forget those people. We have to have something there that marks them.
That's true.
Something that marks Richfield, something that marks Liberty City. And what we call Liberty City, the original Liberty City, you all remember, was 52nd Street to 66. That's it. 1 block on either side of Liberty Parkway, 1800 and 1900. That's Liberty City.
That's true.
They now, for convenience of others, it's everything else. But we've got to preserve that. And there's nothing, although it was promised to us when I was in elementary school, that they were going to put the signs up that said who the streets were named in honor of. They've never done it. I was in elementary school when they promised that. I've been retired 100 years, okay? It's not there. But I've talked a lot. You all talk and say.
And I've always thought the same thing. I say this is a historic Black neighborhood, and we have several different streets here with names on them. Who are these people?
Mm-hmm.
Are they people that helped started this community?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the streets should be named after the original families that started this community and that was here and helped to build it up. And I see they do have a street name, but it's kind of like temporary. It's not official. And it's after
No.
what was his name? He was a alderman.
You talking about Clifton Jones?
Yes.
Okay, you see that brown sign that's up under Stuyvesant? When they retired from being president of the association, they put that in honor of Mr. and Mrs. Clifton Jones. Back when I was in elementary school, that is the sign, the type of sign that was supposed to be put up under all of the street signs who was in honor of. For example, I live on Tubman.
Mm-hmm.
The sign was supposed to say Harriet Tubman Street, but when it was put up, it was Tubman. The county didn't say it. We'll come back, we'll put the plaques up under there to tell you who it's named for. They haven't done it yet. It was in honor of Harriet Tubman.
Well, that's part of the erasure, and then it helps us and helps our children when they see those names.
Yes.
Just like they have Tumor Street, but they don't really have the name
Of
of
the
the
name.
tumors.
Right. Right.
There's the Collier House up there on the corner.
Yeah.
And so we're not like on the registry like some people are, and the tour buses come around to the different places, and we should be. And in order for us to have markers, then we would have to be not just on the registry, but it would have to be considered a landmark. And if we have any houses that's actually like one of the first houses, is just any part of it left, it could be, considered a landmark.
Well, the house that she lives in is the first house in Liberty City. It's just like her granddaddy built it.
Okay.
And one of the things I have been wanting to do for years is to get Liberty City established as a national historic neighborhood. That requires a cooperation of the people. And I haven't given up on that.
Right.
But now, Brenda and I next week are going to drive because we remember the original houses in Liberty City. And some of them are just like they were built.
Right.
Okay? Okay? My house built in 1957 is just like it was. Okay?
And my granddad's house, just like it was, way up in the 40, I think we moved out there in 40.
It was nice. Yeah.
And then we moved him out. Moving the house we live in now, my granddaddy built it. My sister's did. But anyway, I was a little girl when I started walking around. And Dad had to be about 48 or 49. Because see, I was born in 1947. And I was a little girl out there walking. And my granddaddy would have me by the hand, carry me everywhere he go. But Liberty City, some of the houses out there are still there. My granddad had add on a lot. A house, a room, a washroom, whatever they need, he built it for them. And my granddad stayed on Lower Street. When the people got ready to go to work, they give granddad a key. He had a key to every house on that street. Nobody that stayed home. If the gas man had to come there, he let the gas man. If the light man come, he let him. The cable man, all of that. When my granddad died, I went in the room, I found a ring. And he had some kind of thing on, let him know who house it was. He had to let the people in their house. That's how they didn't stay home on my granddad's street. They went to work and let the people in the house.
And you know, it was like, I remember I was working and I got a call at school that something happened at my house, so I left and went home. And the neighbors, about 3 men on my street, see, I was called the little Myers girl. They said, you need to go back to work. We got this. They took care of it.
Yeah, they did.
They took care. They went in the house. They took care of whatever they needed to do. The little Myers girl, and they took care of it. Family took. Neighbors took care of neighbors. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, neighbors
if
took.
your child did something wrong, and you didn't have to worry. Well, he's gonna straighten them out before he get home. Let him to his mom. They didn't play that.
That's right. Because you was everybody's children. Everybody was your mother. Everybody was your father.
Yes,
true. And they looked out for each other. You couldn't walk down the street. Me and my sister was walking down Rayburn and was coming from our grandmother's house. And we didn't speak to Miss Priestley, was sitting on the porch. But by the time we got home,
Miss Priestley, call your mom.
she had already called and said that we walked by and did not speak.
I know you were in trouble.
Yes, we were. And so that was a lesson. So whenever we went out and we walked down the street, even if we didn't know who it was,
You said, good morning, ma'am.
yeah, because
Okay.
they knew who we were.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, it was a lesson for life.
It was.
And that was one of the things that I loved about Liberty City, is that there were strong family values, but everybody had the same values.
That's right.
Okay? And it was no such thing as my child or your child.
That's true.
Okay? That everyone wanted all the children to do well.
That's
You
right.
know?
They
And I
did.
remember we didn't have public transportations, no buses. We were called the country, so taxis wouldn't come out here.
That's true.
And very few people had a car. But the people who did have a car, they'd pile up everywhere.
And look at it, don't let it be on Saturday, go to the grocery store, everybody went to the grocery store, granddaddy truck out there, we couldn't get in daddy car, the truck,
Yeah.
they didn't need nobody.
For the people who didn't, because some people, they still also had a barter system.
Mm-hmm.
If I had eggs and you had some greens,
That's exactly right.
people would trade off,
We would trade off,
you know?
and we took care of each other.
That's true.
I remember they used to call it going to town, and Daddy had a car, so he would get as far as Dr. Collier's house. I remember the boys would stand in the corner.
Yes.
So when you got right there, everybody would pile into the car.
And
Everyone would pile into the car, and they would take you to West Broad and Victory Drive. That was a drop off, and then you just went to wherever you wanted to go. And whoever had a car, and on 61st, Miss Mitzi had a car,
Yeah.
and she had those 3 children, and then all the Page children, her children, all the Page children would pile in that one car and go to school. And the thing is, we thought that was normal.
That's right. Look at it. They did not leave no child, like a child up on the corner, nobody come, they'll stop. Where you going? What school you at? My bride didn't come on.
I wanted to do this the other day, but I was afraid because, some people get upset if you say something to their kids.
They do.
And it was a little girl, it was cold, and she probably had missed the bus, because she was the only one up there. And we really wanted to give her a ride to school.
But you were afraid.
We were afraid, so we didn't. But I looked at her really well and looked at the clothes she had on and everything, just in case. I could be able to say, okay, well, I saw her, she looked like this, she had this on, and paid attention to that. But that's one thing I did like. Now, I started going to school in the 60s, and my mother would not let me walk across that bridge, because there was nothing on either side. There was no fence. There was not even.
I remember that.
And there was one girl, a Wilson girl, and I was on the city bus, and the bus driver stopped. The kids used to call him Uncle.
Call him what?
Uncle. He was a white guy. And he stopped the bus, and he went to help, but she was falling, she was sliding down, and he stopped the bus on the bridge, and got off the bus to help the other kids, keep her from falling. And even after that, there still never was a fence up there.
Never.
And it was very dangerous for the children to walk across that bridge.
It was.
But guess what
like
they did?
that.
They started letting the children walk down on the side of the bridge. Go down and had a path. The train made a path for them. That's how the kids used to, they wanted to walk across the
But
bridge.
that was dangerous too, because the tracks were there.
The trash.
You know?
This is because there was no buses provided for black children. So black children had to walk to school. Rain, shine, sleet, or snow. It didn't matter how far you lived, you walked to school.
They said that you had to
And look
be
at it,
least
get there
2
on time.
miles from the school, but the safety of the child,
But you were 2 miles.
exactly. And so it still should have been a safety issue for the kids walking, because I know now where there are streets where there is a high traffic street like Aldrein, if you stay on the side where the school is, then you don't have to worry about crossing Montgomery Crossroad. But if you stay on the other side and you got to cross that street, it's too dangerous. And so a crossing guard must be up there. We had no crossing guard down here.
We didn't. We didn't.
We didn't have a crossing guard down here.
But you remember when we first got, public transport first got buses out here?
Yes, I
The
remember.
bus would come to what they call Pendleton Street now, that's as far as it would come.
Back up, back up.
The first bus driver, the first black bus driver in the city of Savannah was Roger Shank.
Sure is.
And Roger Shank taught us how to cross the street.
Sure
Okay, because we didn't know how to cross the
They
street.
didn't.
Okay, Roger, and he would go from, you'd get the bus on West Broad and Victory Drive.
That's right, transfer.
It cost 10 cents.
That's right.
Yes.
And he would come as far as the farthest he would come. But first, Brenda, he used to stop up there by Dr. Collier's house.
Yeah.
But then it came down to Pendleton Street.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like what it is now. 10 cents. Okay. Roger Shank taught me how to cross the street, and you look both ways and stop.
Mr. Chase, he was nice now.
He was a nice bus driver. He drove our bus for years. This is the
Okay.
city bus,
Right.
not the school bus.
Oh, no,
We
it
didn't
was
have
school
school
bus.
bus.
He stayed on that one route, Liberty City Community Bus. And then the bus didn't run all day. It'd run a certain time in that morning after that.
Yeah.
But it started back running after 2, till 6 o'clock.
Yeah, because my mother even talks about how they got up early in the morning to walk to school because they didn't have school buses.
There were no school
They didn't
buses.
see the school buses passing by,
Yeah.
and but they had to walk to school, rain,
Range.
cold. It
And
didn't
guess what?
matter.
They was on time too.
Yes, it was.
Everybody didn't call and tell about your child late.
No.
Yeah.
But when the school buses passed, do you remember when the children would throw things out the bus on you?
That train walk.
But it's still quite a few families still living in the neighborhood. Like you was talking about the Whites, those are my cousins. Their mother was my aunt, Josephine White.
Patricia White?
Yeah.
is your
it's
cousin.
Furman now.
Yeah, but see, I can't remember
Yeah,
these
she's
married
one-
names.
Yeah, she's my cousin.
Okay.
Her mother was my mother's grandmother's sister.
Okay.
Yes. So the Whites, well, her father was my grandmother's sister, brother, and her father was Rufus White. Yes, and her mother, her grandmother was Josie White, and they stayed at the bottom of Raven Street. As a matter of fact, her uncle still lives down there, Ralph White. He lives at the bottom. That's his family. In the original house. Now I don't know if they added on to it or not, but they called it. They called her grandmother. And that was Angeline Peck, because she was originally moved here. She was from South Carolina, and she had a daughter that moved to here, and they had a store, and they lived there for a while in the store. And it was one thing that I was telling people that was important about my grandmother. She had an entrepreneur spirit. She had a car that she could drive, and not a lot of people didn't have cars. And that was a long time ago, and she had a car, and she used to go down to where the longshoreman was, and she would cook meals, and she would sell them at the top of
That
her
was your
car.
grandmother?
Yes.
I know your
That
grandma.
was my great grandma.
Your great grandma, I remember that.
I remember that too.
And not only did not a lot of people didn't have cars, a lot of women didn't have cars and didn't know how to drive. Didn't know how to drive, and they didn't know how to be independent.
Right. And so she did, because her husband passed when they was living in South Carolina, and when her daughter moved, and so my grandmother was still there in the town that's named after their family name, which is Paxville. And they moved here because she was the only one there out of all the girls, and so she moved here with her mother, and she bought the property right behind at the bottom of Worth Street. And then the Burgesses, who was my grandmother's son, Harrison Burgess, they lived in the house, him and Marie Burgess, and they lived there for years and raised their children. Stephanie Burgess is my first cousin.
Okay, all right, small world. I think it's lost a lot on this generation, what it took to own land and a home back then.
Yeah.
And I fear that this generation, maybe even the generation before, thinks that it always was like this, and that it was so easy. They don't understand what it took to own land, to pay taxes, and to build a house. And a lot of the houses in Liberty City were built small. It's just what you needed to get in. And as they had money, they added on to the houses.
That's what they did.
But no matter what, this was one of the most beautiful places you would ever find. I mean, lawns were immaculate.
They did. And no trash
Flowers,
in the yard.
you never saw litter anywhere. Okay, park your car on the grass, it did not happen.
That was a no-no.
That
That's a no-no.
didn't happen.
And just
Yeah.
picking up trash, that's community service.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's community service when you pick up trash in your neighborhood and it's not your trash.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because my husband, he does that,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Well,
daily
I'll tell you
basis.
what.
He gonna come outside, he gonna look, and if there's trash on the other side of the fence, he's gonna go get it. If it's across the street, because the property across the street from us, I think the Zieglers had owned, and that family had lived up there a long time too. And somebody is always dumping trash over there. He'll go get it.
I think, yeah, and Miss Ziegler is supposed to be coming today. Gloria Ziegler is supposed to be coming today.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Is it tomorrow? Tomorrow, okay. Yeah. I talked her into it. And her sister said, let my sister do the talking. She's good at doing the talking.
Miss Jackson.
Yeah, Miss Jackson said, let my sister do the talking. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of families, you know, are still here.
I
But
think,
you know, you can count the ones in Liberty City that still, you know, the older people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
well, they've died out.
And
And
Miss Albright is still
Miss
there.
Albright is still here.
Yeah.
One of the ones out
Yeah.
there, the original one, Liberty City.
The Quartermans, they're still out here. Also.
But you know, I think one of the greatest testaments to Liberty City is that the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren of many of the original residents were still here.
That's true.
When you could choose to live anywhere, you choose to live in Liberty City.
Yes,
I think that says a lot
That's true.
about Liberty City, that they're here. And they've been here for generations, and they have no plans to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
And when I see people, I tell them, don't sell the property because we are bombarded
That's
all
what
the
I tell them
time,
too.
sending stuff to the house, emails, postcards, asking you to sell your property, and I'm telling people, don't do it. Don't
You
do
always
it.
send a card in the mail, I throw them right in the trash.
Oh, yeah.
I begged when I told myself, if you have any mercy in your soul, please stop calling me. Don't call me again. I have nothing I want to sell.
I had a friend told me, say the house down there with that Princess Street, he had rented to his cousin or somebody. And he said, these young people, they don't take care of nothing. Said when they cook grits and stuff, they throw it out in the grass and all that. And the people in the neighborhood, they used to that kind of, they call. The
Oh,
man,
yeah,
he put them out that same one. They got in there 2 weeks, they went out.
Well, it's a whole different way of doing things.
I'm gonna pause our recording here now. We've got a lot going on around us.
Wait,